poverty is not a negative impact?
You're wrong. You said the greatest negative impact.
I said one of the greatest negative impact.
Well, I will tell you, when you destroy the water management system in the middle of Jamaica, remember I'm talking about 40 rivers and streams and outlet, 40% of the island's water system, right? You can't tell me that if you understand how the carpet works, once you start to open up the forest and change the humidity, change the environment completely. Secondly, the water systems are going to be impacted by mining because they're mining in the volcanic depression, they're mining between the hills. That is the water system.
So you're saying that
permanent generational damage.
You're saying that the government and their technocrats don't know what they're doing when they define the boundaries.
No,
they're a set of incompetent people up there.
No, it's not about knowledge. Many years ago, when they're doing the ponds, the Red Mud Lake, they knew that if you don't line the bottom, it's going to travel into your water system. Hold on a little. Understand the point. It's about the choice that some companies make, right? Are you going to put people's well-being and interest first, or are you going to put your capital investment
Are
first?
you calling the government greedy?
Right? I'm just describing to you that many people have been negatively impacted by the operations of bauxite
but what
mining.
I'm saying, Robert, is the answer I want from you. Are you saying they're incompetent or they're greedy?
No.
The government?
There are other choices. Before I go to malice or anything, right? I'm saying that the interests of the people are not being put first. That is what I'm saying. I'm saying, so I can't say the government is greedy.
Because they're greedy.
I don't want to use that word. That would be your word.
Which word you prefer?
I need to respond to this.
Yes, and I need to hear. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that the government is not putting the interests of the people first when they do
I need to respond to this. Go ahead. I need to respond to this. Basil Fernandez, well recognized as the foremost
water resource
expert in the island, has declared that 50 years of bauxite mining has had no adverse effect on flow or quality of water.
That's not true. I have documentation. I did a South Coast Master Plan, and one of the problems, Kirkvine water travel from Mandeville almost to the south of Clarendon. We know. That is why they now have to seal the thing. Then you have people who have respiratory problems. Then you go to the meeting, people show you they have to cut cancerous things out of their neck because of the effect of these things.
How do we strike the balance? Are you open to bauxite mining anywhere in the parish?
You see, you have to be very responsible. If you have a water system that is decisive for the future of the country, and you have a system of topsoil that is critical for production in the middle of the island. Remember now, you have a lot of industries on the coast now, all them tourist industries on the north and agriculture on the south.
And so I get the objection. What I want to understand is, are you open to bauxite mining anywhere?
I'm going to answer you now. For you, if your bottom line is to preserve those services, right, then you have to do the scientific work to say what is required to make sure.
But they have done that.
Stop a little. Is to do the scientific requirements to show what is required.
So that has not been done.
For protected area management, no.
So therefore, you're saying that if it has been done, what you're saying is that the government was and their technocrats were incompetent in what they did.
Irresponsible. I'll give you an example. You can't issue a special mining lease 1733, and your EIA has not been done. To me, that is reckless and irresponsible. Environmental impact assessment. Okay. That was not done. There's a process where you do that, and then the stakeholders have a chance.
But you're saying it was done.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
It's not done.
The SML bylaw certainly can be issued. What cannot happen is you cannot mine until the EIA has been done and approved by NEPA.
So
that is to come.
That is to come.
No,
but
to me that prejudices the case.
You take that on.
Yes. You don't issue a lease until you should not. Because NEPA stopped. Remember, it's not only that NEPA stopped the mining activity. Am I wrong or am I right?
You're wrong.
They didn't issue a stop order?
You're wrong.
What did they do?
We have not begun mining in SML 173.
No, what did they issue a stop order on NEPA?
I don't know that.
Let me go down the road of this environmental assessment. Let us say you do this environmental assessment, which I have a difficulty with because you have no...
You have an interest.
You have an interest. You have a vested interest
Yes.
in the economic activity and making this thing happen. What assurances do the people of Jamaica have that your disclosure will be full and complete and in the best interest of the nation?
You have NEPA, who is a regulatory body.
So they review.
They review and mandate what you have to do.
No, that's not everything.
That's what
but
they
there
do.
is to be a
So what
public-
Robert is saying is he has no confidence in the government that they've done the scientific work. He has no confidence in
No.
NEPA that they will regulate properly. That's what
please
he's
don't
saying.
put
That's
word in my
effectively
mouth.
what you're
What
saying,
I
Robert.
said is in terms of a protected area management, we have not seen presented what are the requirements to sustainably manage the area. For example, if that was done, you couldn't use a road as a buffer zone between mining. You can't be mining on one side of the road
Is
and
your
then you have a
protest
protected area on the other
premature?
side.
Perhaps you should wait. What if you wait for this environmental assessment and the plans?
Wait
assess
in terms
those.
of what?
I'm saying perhaps the protest action at this point is premature because if they are mandated to do an environmental assessment that is to be monitored and managed by NEPA, would you be comfortable if the plans that are put in front of you take into consideration the future watershed issues, the future supply of...
But they've already determined where 173 is.
Yes.
And if you put mining there, it's going to destroy the service.
Yeah, so
Anywhere in there.
Robert, let me ask
That
you this.
173.
Robert,
Yes.
Robert, let me,
Mining is happening in the cockpit, you know.
Robert, let me
From
ask, let me
2015.
ask you this way. Let me ask you this way. You said that the government, in your words, is irresponsible in the way they have
process.
defined the boundary, right? And the process.
The process.
Right?
The
So let me
process.
ask you now. You said that it's going to cause a problem. What is the basis of your opinion then?
Okay. The functions, the services that we get from the cockpit.
You did a scientific study.
Right? The services that we get from it. It's been well documented. Right? And he knows the information.
No,
the
I don't.
Services,
I don't. Don't presume that.
No, you.
I go by science and I go
That's what I'm saying.
I
The
go,
reports. There have been several studies.
Which
University
report? Which
and so
report?
on. The Dale Weber report. And then there are several
Dale
documents.
Weber's report says that the environmentalists agreed
not,
to the boundaries.
No.
That's what Dale Weber's
No, well,
report
he
says.
can say that, but it wasn't agreed to. And it's a different boundary from what they have
So you're
proposed on the random.
conveniently agreeing with Dale Weber on some things
No,
and disagreeing with him on others.
I'm disagreeing on it. I'm agreeing with him on the points that it has to do in terms of the functions and services that cockpit country.
But
Remember,
but
let me finish
but
this.
as David said, does he have points in there that you disagree with in the report?
No, but that's
No, I'm asking because I
That
want
is-
to know if you
that's not-
agree with half it and disagree
No,
with
no,
the
no.
other
I'm telling
half.
you the points that are important. When you have a protected area, right? The services that we're talking about has to be is tied to the terrain, the topography of the area. There's a certain topography. You know where the cockpit country is based on the topography, right? And the services are tied to the topography. So when you put mining lease adjacent and into the inside of that topography, you're going to have an impact on the water system. That's just how it is. So the people who
disagree with you.
secondly, you
Yeah,
can
but
disagree.
Robert, I'm asking what's
Secondly,
the
people
basis
live-
of that? What's the basis of that? Because if you're going to say that government has been irresponsible and not competent,
I
in
give you an
defining
example
the
of what was
What is the
irresponsible.
basis? Is there a report that we can go to?
Yes, you can
and
go to
scientifically done?
all the hydrological.
What's the name
I'll
of
give
the
you an
report?
example. There's a report that was done which showed you all the hydrological points in it.
By who?
It's in the forest. It's in the forest report. It's in Dale Weber's report. It shows you.
That's not what the National Water Resources people are
It
saying.
shows you. I'm not discussing this. I'm telling you what's on the map. It shows you all the caves and all the water systems. And many of them are outside of what is proposed as a boundary. Now, if you understand the cockpit, I'll give you an example. Kashi River sink, or Darnax Head in this case, is the source of the Rio Bueno. That is going to be impacted by the mining.
No. Dornoch is outside of the CCPA.
No,
but it-
allow him.
But it
Although
is
I'm-
not within the mining lease.
Listen to
Hold
what
on,
I'm
Robert.
saying. I'm saying that the areas that are being mined drain into Darnax. From Fremont, all of that area there drains into the Darnax. You see, what happened in the high altitude area have all of these drains, Black River, Martha Rio Breno, right? They connect from the center to the coast. If you impact those channels that have been defined by millions of years of flow, right? What is going to happen? You could be caught in disaster.
What happens if you don't stick to the environmental protections that you ought to? What if he's right and we see bleed in some of our river waters?
We are constantly monitoring.
You can't correct.
When you can't correct.
That's
Robert,
the point.
I'll allow you to answer.
Robert's
comments
are largely emotional, and I understand that. We have to deal with science, and we have to deal with science, not because we want to bulldoze down the place, but this country needs the jobs and the revenue that bauxite produces.
But we need water, and it's already
So
short.
let me go further. There are 1373. There is no surface water.
I'll give you the last word.
Hang on.
Okay, all right, no, and I do want to allow you. Yes.
Hang on.
Groundwater?
50 years of mining. Basil Fernandez says there is no evidence that the water has been either qualitatively or quantitatively affected. Reynolds mined above the Duns River. No evidence. So I don't know, other than an emotional
Yes,
I don't know where the scientific
The people who live in these areas will tell you that they have lost water quality. They can't build in some areas. No, remember, the area that is proposed in 173, people live there, These are communities, long-established communities. Plus, you're going into maroon territory. People live there, so what are you going to do with these people?
Bauxite has a history of relocating people, though.
Well, what happens to when you move somebody from their land, separate them from the land, you put them into an area where they can't produce. These lands no longer can produce. In fact, right now, this is not a money issue, because right now there's a 1.9 billion annual exemption under the bauxite levy. Why is that money not coming to us? How you can do it in a country where you don't have beds in the hospital and so on?
This discussion certainly needs a part two. Yes. Gentlemen, we thank you for your time. Robert Carr, David Wankin, thank you very much for talking.
You're most welcome.
We take a break, folks. When we come back, it's more on point.
Dodge & Global Marketing Strategy Consulting. Marketing isn't a department, it's a system. Having an integrated and cohesive marketing plan allows each marketing technique to support the others, thereby creating a synergy of branding and growth for your business. Dodge & Global can assist you in making smart decisions with lasting value in regard to the following key decisions. Determine if there is a paying market for your products and services. Craft long-term and short-term marketing goals. Define marketing campaigns. Create marketing strategies. Select powerful marketing techniques to reach your audience. Choose a brand and image that reflects your core message. Design marketing materials. Design internet marketing strategies. Track marketing results to determine the strongest techniques. Because it's so important to create an integrated marketing strategy that will bring in business. Get advice and mentoring from people who are already successful marketing experts. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Welcome back to On Point. Forget house and land, apartments, that's where it's at. But is there an oversupply of apartments in Kingston? Take a look at some of the more recent developments.
The face of Kingston and St. Andrew is changing. That declaration came from Prime Minister Andrew Holness last October as he opened the brand new 10-story apartment complex called 20 South. The apartment is near Halfway Tree in St. Andrew, and the government says it fits seamlessly into the administration's plan to change the corporate area's skyline. At 10 stories high, 20 South is the tallest residential complex in St. Andrew. But there are already requests from developers to build high-rises up to 20 stories. Few months after 20 South was opened, the Guardian Group forked out $4 billion to invest in its own apartment complex called The Cambridge, which has 176 units. The Cambridge is being developed on 3 acres of Guardian Life's property on Musgrave Avenue and is located in the prime residential area on the outskirts of the Golden Triangle. Ground was broken in March 2019, and by mid-April, half the units were already sold. It's not only private developers who are contributing to reshaping the Kingston and St. Andrew skyline. The NHT is also involved. The Ruthven Towers apartment complex, which is being built by the trust, has already racked up a bill of over $5 billion. When completed, the complex is expected to have some 238 units.
Joining us now to talk about trends in the real estate market is Realtor and past president of the Realtors Association, Edwin Wint. Eddie.
Sir Wint, good to see you.
Yeah, man, good to see you.
It must be really good to be you right now with all the developments going up. Realtor is the dream job at this point, no?
Don't listen to all the rumors you hear.
but it's good, right? It's good.
The market is buoyant, yes.
But let's talk a little bit about the actual pricing of some of the things that you're seeing. Are they value for money right now? Are they overpriced?
Okay, the market is wide, 14 parishes. So if we're talking about corporate area and you want to narrow it down, you do have some good value for money. But some of the new builds are priced at a bit of a premium. One has to be discerning and look at it carefully.
Let's talk about where the value is right now. If I'm supposed to find a property in Kingston that's a steal, that's a good buy, what would that look like?
That would look like maybe something over 10 years old, maybe a townhouse in an area that's maybe not as well sought after right now, but it's still a good, stable location. And you're still finding properties that have immediate equity in it.
And you have that kind of inventory on the market now?
You do have a few, but they are very scarce.
But Eddie, there's still a significant demand at the lower to lower middle income because we've had a significant shortage over the years. Eh?
Yes.
So I mean, what you might find is that a lot of the people who were first-time owners, they're now trying to step up, and then and people are trying to fill that bottom slot.
That's true.
But on that vein, what does that mean? Poor people shouldn't live in Kingston. At some point, we're not going to have any housing in Kingston that's going to be affordable to middle-income, poor people.
Well, that's for the government to answer. But the private sector developers are responding to the market, but the land price predicts where you can build what. Right. And so they're finding that they have to move out of the central areas in order to get the land price, which can afford the selling prices. So you're talking Old Harbour and moving out St. Catherine's side.
I have to push back on that point. I have to push back on that point because plots of land that traditionally were single-family dwellings may be double. Yes? One of those Meadowbrook houses that have a small side and big yard space. A lot of those developments, a lot of those houses are being turned into multiple unit developments, 4 stories high, 30 units. A developer can recover the cost of that land if he's able to do something affordable on that, no?
Well, what is happening is that they're bidding up the prices now. Now that the Provisional Development Order has increased the densities, so there is more competition in the market for the available lots.
Repeat what you just said. There's now a mandate to increase density?
There is a change in there's a Provisional Development Order. And in that Provisional Development Order, some of the densities most of the densities in the corporate area have been increased.
The allowable
densities have increased.
So whereas at one point, say 5 years ago, you couldn't put a 30-unit apartment complex on one of these single-unit lots.
Legally.
Legally. Right.
But you can do it legally
No,
now.
you can.
Yes, in principle, yes.
But Eddie, there's something wrong with that, you know. I mean, my view is that if you go to cities like Tokyo, you know, Hong Kong, New York, even New York, right? You're going to find that within the more prime areas, you're going to have these high-rise buildings, right? And the rooms are, and the places are very small. The challenge one of the challenges that we have, right, is that we have failed to develop the highway to move out of the town. So it makes it look like a bother for people to get into Kingston. But I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that because 60% of the population live here anyway, so you expect demand to go up, isn't that so?
Yeah, in principle, yes.
So people are moving away from wanting a yard and somewhere for the dog to run and 2 mango trees in the back to go for apartment.
But I don't think it's not people don't want a yard, you know, Patria. It's just that people can't afford it.
I want it. That's what they're trying to figure out.
Well, what they're doing is moving out of the corporate area to get that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're going to find more of that happening.
And you find that happens in major cities also.
Correct.
I mean, in New York, for example, you know, come back to that. You know, there's a concentration of high-rise buildings and, you know, that sort of thing. If you want a yard space, you move out.
Let's go back
You
to
know,
that price matter. Who can afford some of these listings? I mean, you look through the real estate listings, you know, ads in the paper, or you go on a website, go on the MLS. You see a matchbox, and the price for that matchbox, you're thinking, surely nobody can afford this. And then you go back and you see it sold. Who is affording these luxury apartments?
A cross-section of people. You have regular hardworking people who are moving up on the property ladder, selling something.
Like a
And
kidney?
moving up. Pardon?
Like a kidney?
Not sure I understand.
Selling something like a kidney.
Oh.
Because what would you sell to be able to afford the price point at which some of these are being sold
what
for?
you're doing is you're selling, maybe you might have cleared the mortgage or a substantial amount of the mortgage. And so you're getting a certain amount of principal to put deposit on the new one.
So you're benefiting from the appreciation in the real estate market with your
correct.
existing property.
That's correct.
Fair?
And also, you're in more joint purchasing.
Right.
So accessing the NHT benefits and pooling together to make these investments. Auntie and Granny, you know, from who is in foreign, all pitching in. So it's a mixture of people that buy.
On that matter, the NHT though, did you notice in your experience that when the changes were made to the limits of the NHT, that sort of helped the market to get more active?
Yeah, there was an uptick. There was an uptick in the market. There was also an uptick in values in that
Right.
range. Because 6.5 times 2, 13. So you found a that was
Right.
valued maybe at around 10 to 11.
Went to 13.
Move to 13. That's just how the market moves.
And let's talk about those numbers because the interest rates are doing a great thing. There's apparently this race to the bottom. We can all recall when we had double-digit interest rates for housing. Now we're down to as low as what?
6.99.
In commercial banks.
Yes.
But as the interest rate is coming down, the prices are going up.
Yes.
Are we still able to achieve that balancing act where a modest salary for even 2 people can find housing in Kingston City, in the capital?
Right. What they have to be doing is changing their expectation. So they can't afford what they would have wanted to before, but they're finding something else in the market that they can afford.
Or going outside of
Or
Kingston.
going outside of Kingston.
And with the highways being developed now.
That's correct.
I mean, like for example, look at an area like Caymanas. Caymanas, a beautiful scheme, and the demand is there. I mean, that's where a lot of people would love to live.
Lots
have
of-
yard space. And
Lots of developments also going up in Old Harbour. People are
And
hitting the
there are
highway.
lots of plans for more housing in the Caymanas area.
Let me ask, can we take more? And I particularly have a difficulty with the infrastructure side. Water. NHWMA
Yeah,
can
that's
collect more garbage from all of these townhouses
more
that are
trucks.
going up.
Well-
Are we able to keep up from the infrastructure side with all of this high density, intense multi-story living.
Well, that's what we have a government for, you know, to make these kind of plans, forward planning, to ensure that everything is in sync. You'll find that, speaking of infrastructure, the road improvements that's stated, which will commence going on the St. Thomas side,
Right.
that's going to drive another opening up of opportunities, because when it reduces the commute time and the wear and tear in your vehicle to get there, that's where the action is going to be in the next 2 years.
And there's a lot of undeveloped land out to that area.
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Where do you see the next 5 years in real estate? What's going to be hot? So you talk about St. Thomas. Is real estate still going to be a best bet for your investment dollar 5 years from now?
Well, the realtor will tell you that real estate will always be the best investment. And I'll just go back maybe 10, 11 years when you had a meltdown in the US property market, and we never had that experience. So our market is fairly resilient, our economy is fairly resilient, regardless of how bad it gets. You'll probably have a slowdown, but certainly not to the point where prices start dropping and you get a negative equity in your investment.
That will never happen.
No, I never said never.
And this is what I'm asking.
Yes.
This is a reality in some US states,
Yes.
where you might buy a house today and sell it in 5 years for less than you bought it for. You just take the best amount that you can possibly find. With the increasing Jamaican real estate price, do we run the risk of bottoming out on the price of these apartments and getting to a place where people say, I will not pay that anymore, and we start having to sell for less than we bought for?
Depends on what you bought for.
Right.
And you should know when you're buying to use your realtor and to get your comparative analysis to know what's happening in the market, and don't go for above what the market should be.
But right now people are paying more than valuation.
Well, I think that's the point you're making, that
Yes.
a lot of people buy based on emotions,
Yes.
and if you don't get your realtor,
Yes.
then you don't get the
But
comparison.
purely out of desperation, if you know you want to live in Kingston 6, people are willing to pay more than the valuator comes back and says, this thing is really worth X. But because the inventory is small or extremely pricey, people are paying more than valuation amount.
Okay, and that's risk. So you're willing to take the risk and you do it.
But the other thing though, Eddie, I mean, I hear that there's a difficulty selling things at the high end, the very high end. But the low end, where the demand, we still have a lot of unfulfilled demand. And I think that's why the real estate market didn't take a hit like the US. But the other thing I wanted to think about, when I did some comparisons the other day, even when people said that prices were going up, in US dollar terms, they were the same thing.
Well, I was gonna answer your question about that, to say sometime in real terms, especially because we do valuations as well.
Yes.
So we have found that if a property was valued in US, maybe said 8 years ago, in some locations, and because of the movement of the exchange rate, I've seen where when they're ready to sell, they have to sell for less than the amount
Than
in
the
US
yes.
at the time. But in J dollar equivalent, they'll be making a fortune.
Right.
I take it back. The
So-
realtors aren't the ones who are making the bring stroke of money.
We do.
It's the developers. We hear conversation that those are the ones who are making supernormal profits. Are they taking home a wad of cash? Can they can they sell for cheaper?
That's a difficult question because it comes back to how efficient, and you start from the land cost. Because sometimes they overbid in expectation for the land. In fact, sometimes they land bank. And so they buy it for 5, 10 years in advance
And hold it.
and hold it. But there's a cost for holding,
Yeah.
and so they want to recoup for that. Because if you wait until you need it, you won't have any. So some of them land bank, and so they have to, in order to keep that supply chain going, they have to do some creative things as well.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Well, we thank you for talking to us. There's a lot more for us to figure out with this real estate market. You know more than we do. We take a break. When we come back, we continue the conversation right here on Point.
Crow Jamaica Risk Management Services, RMS. Risk management has become indispensable to a company's business operations and management strategy in this complex environment nowadays. Crow Jamaica risk management experts help to turn every risk into an opportunity. We are experienced in providing customized solutions to manage risks and increase transparency and accountability of the companies. Our core services include internal audit, internal control review, corporate governance, corporate compliance, etc. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com, website www.crowjm.com.
Welcome back to On Point. The Cockpit Country is home to much of Jamaica's endemic flora and fauna. It's also the source of much of our water. Take a look at the numbers.
According to the Water Resources Authority, 28% of Jamaica's safe water is from the Cockpit Country, along with 31% of unused water resources. Over 150 plant species have been identified in the Cockpit Country, of which 101 are endemic to the area. There are over 500 species of ferns in the Cockpit Country, more than any other rainforest in the tropics. Approximately 550 species of land snails have been identified in Jamaica thus far, with most occurring in the Cockpit Country. The Cockpit Country features 27 of the 28 known remaining endemic bird species in Jamaica and 79 of the 100 total species identified on the island. At least 94 of Jamaica's 125 butterflies are found in the Cockpit Country, including all endemics. There are 2 butterfly species endemic to the Cockpit Country. The area represents the last refuge for the 18 species of native frogs on the island. All 7 species of snake in Jamaica are found in the Cockpit Country.
And our On Point team hit the streets and asked, do you think any mining should take place in the Cockpit Country?
I don't think so, because we really need the trees to get more rainfall in our country, and I believe cutting down the trees will stop all of that.
Well, if there's anything that we can make out of it, don't want to go in the reserve part of it, but if there's anything that will be available to us, yes, I think so.
No, I totally don't agree. One is the watershed conservation area. I don't think there is enough control or parameters set to sustain and prevent contamination. Evidence is in St. Elizabeth, where persons currently living there are having health issues. I don't think the financial benefits outweigh the natural resources or the benefit to the human resources either.
If it's beneficial to the economy and if it doesn't bother any surrounding communities, that would cause a problem in the future.
Hell no! Simple as that. Allow the people them place. See what I say? Either that or you do all that you need to do, that the feasibility study about it, everything, go in and speak to the community. Can't go in and the people in place just now, man, and dig out. When you dig it out and you don't dig it out, nothing more can grow there, you know. I know people know that. So anywhere that you mine, nothing else can grow there after when you're done. So what you gonna do with the people in place? No, man, it need more. We need more investigation. It need more. Have a bit more knowledgeable in making them this decision. There, draw back that license there where whoever have it. That for draw back, man, and make we examine the thing good, man. Come on, man.
As far as I understand, it's not going on in the Cockpit Country. You have boundaries for mining, so therefore it provides jobs for people. So I don't see why it should not happen.
I don't think I'm adequately informed as to the ramifications of doing such thing. I know mining is very important to Jamaica with foreign exchange, etc. But if there are designated areas for mining, then why not? But the government and the experts would have to give you a good answer. The regular Joe like me on the road, I don't think it's wise to say yes or no without being properly informed.
No, I don't think any mining should be done in the Cockpit Country because it can deplete the natural habitats of some of the faunas and birds that found nowhere else in the world. So that's the reason I don't think any mining should be done there.
No, I don't think mining should be done in the cockpit country, but the better question based on the conversation, is it really the cockpit country? That is really the argument, from what I've been hearing. Is it really the cockpit country? If it is, no. If it is not, then why not?
Corporate restructuring services. In today's evolving commercial and economic environment, businesses are continually seeking opportunities to manage operating costs and tax positions, as well as contain cash expenditures. Entity structuring can help achieve these goals, but often presents many challenges for multinational corporations. In addition, the OECD's Base Erosion and Profit Shifting (BEPS) proposals are expected to impact the bottom line of affected organizations and result in some business restructuring. Crow Jamaica delivers an integrated approach to clients' corporate and reorganization needs. Services include simplifying group structures, executing domestic and cross-border transactions including mergers, demergers, disposals, and company migrations, transferring assets and business units, aligning legal structures to business models, establishing national or regional hubs, converting subsidiary company structures to branch structures and vice versa, integrating legal structures following a merger or acquisition, providing practical advice and assistance throughout the planning, development, and implementation phases of corporate reorganizations. Crow Jamaica assists businesses and other advisors in developing and implementing efficient, cost-effective legal structures and business operating models. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com. Website www.crowjm.com.
Boy, Dennis, that bauxite conversation is frustrating but important.
Yeah. It's important, but you know, I mean, the government has done their study, right? David mentioned the whole thing about Basil Fernandez and what he said. And I get where the environmentalists are coming from, but what they also need to come with is some scientific evidence to counter what has been done. Because unless you do that, then you're really just going to have this he said, she said thing going on.
Absolutely. And I mean, bauxite has had a long history.
Yeah.
You hear 50 years, a 50-year history in Jamaica, and there are other families, there are other communities who will tell you what bauxite has done for their own growth and development. The question is whether or not as a nation we are willing to sacrifice the watershed for that kind of economic gain. Are we compromising the watershed?
And that's a question that we need to answer, because nobody wants to compromise the watershed. But let us get some scientific evidence to show what the situation is. Because one of the greatest negative impacts on the environment is poverty. You know, look what happened in Haiti. They cut down all the trees and where they live and all that, and it creates a massive problem.
And to be fair, the fact that NEPA is the entity that is to be the watchdog is one of the concerns that some people will have as well. There have been other instances, even with bauxite, where people have accused NEPA of being negligent, of accused NEPA of not being able to do the kind of monitoring work that's required to keep people safe. And so that in and of itself is also going to be a concern that people will have.
But you know, what we should do then is get the information, put it out there and show where NEPA has been faulted, and then you take action based on that. But this anecdotal thing, you know, that you're just talking based on emotions, that's the problem we have. I remember Goat Island. You know, we have a nice island out there now, and no development.
It's
a
a
lot of
habitat
poverty
for
still.
the iguanas. That's what it is, though. Let's shift conversations to that matter of real estate in City Kingston. That real estate continues to climb in terms of price, but does it continue to climb in terms of value? There are some who believe that an apartment in Kingston right now is just overpriced.
In US dollar terms, I don't think so. And I think that is it, because there's still a demand at the low level. And if you look in US dollar terms, remember our dollar now is 140.
But the demand is there, but the real estate is not. The kind of price point that you're talking about, where people need to buy homes, where most people can afford to buy homes, that inventory doesn't exist in City of Kingston.
It doesn't, and people are going to have to go outside of Kingston. And that's why the roads are so important, because if you can live, for example, in Caymanas and come to Kingston in 10 minutes, why you want to get a house in Kingston?
I'm going to come back to my infrastructure concerns. We have to build out the road network, because right now traffic in Kingston is ridiculous, and the more high rises, the more people are going to be living in that. When we talk about the population density, how do we move them? And water. Right now people still flushing toilet for number 2. How do you put all of these people in these apartment complexes? They're going up higher and higher, 4 and 5 stories. NWC is pushing back and saying, I cannot guarantee that I can pump water to the 3rd, 4th, or 5th floor. Where do you leave those people? To build out a bath pan in them expensive apartments?
We have to develop the infrastructure, definitely. I mean, it's important. I mean, and I think the work that has been done on the roads and what NWC has been doing, I think is, you know, we're all looking forward to it. The only problem with it, I think, was that NWA didn't manage it properly. You know, so they just didn't consider the people at Jamaica when they were doing that.
There is a benefit, certainly, though, to those who would have bought into real estate early, who have those older homes, who have the wide expanse of yard, who can now sell and upgrade.
Yes.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for On Point this week. We've got to say thank you to the very hardworking crew who make this show happen, and thanks to you for always tuning in. Until next week, I'm Patria Kay.
And I'm Dennis Sean.
See you next time.
On Point was brought to you by Crow Jamaica.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Innovation, networking, and exhibitions all in one space. It's another staging of CME's Corporate Mingle. And today we are here at Eden Gardens Wellness Resort and Spa. I'm your host, Amita Pasadwe. Please stay tuned for highlights.
Now, Eden Gardens basically was started way back in 2008. However, we had a relaunch in 2014. Now, in the relaunch of the 2014, this is the present state that it is in. Now, we have what you call, what are the product offering, or what do we offer to our guests? We offer a spa, a fully contemporary spa. So for those of you who don't know, we have a fully contemporary spa that is not just the main, what you may call it, for example, massage and cosmetics and all of that. But a part of our spa has been licensed for therapeutics under the Cannabis Licensing Authority. And as such, we are one of those few persons, if any, that can practice massage therapy and all that kind of therapy, physiotherapy, utilizing the cannabis extract as it relates to persons who come in may have pains, challenges, muscle spasms, stuff like that. We actually have created products. We have 12 products from Medicanja that is a subsidiary company that is also used in this process. Now, in terms of restaurant, we have on location 2 of our own restaurant, which is the Tulips. Now, the Tulips is a casual dining. And basically, you can come in here any hour of the day from 7 o'clock in the morning right through to 10 o'clock at night. And you can get any food in terms of your regular Jamaican fare or international fare. Then we have the Black Orchid. And the Black Orchid basically is the more, what you may call fine dining, where you can go, sit, and be pampered and treated like kings and queens. We also have a section for events. Accommodation is here. Of course, we have 22 rooms here, but we have also events. We are maybe the premier area for weddings. So those of us who are getting married or having an anniversary or want to have anything to do with a reception as it relates to weddings, we have it here. For those of us who are interested in any corporate events, as you see, the layout here is just one part of what we can do. You can actually walk upstairs. We have a roof setting that basically gives you the view of the entire New Kingston with the kind of beauty that we represent here as in the gardens. We also have a section where we call our suppliers, where we have a group of persons who are into wellness in one form or the other, have spaces here. So we have the Cushite, we have persons with hair, we have a physiotherapist, chiropractor, a nutritionist. They're all here. So what we are doing, we have created an arena, so to speak, of wellness in the tangible and intangible form. And at the back of the presence here, you will find EG Wellness brands. And primarily what EG Wellness brands do is to specifically research and create products that are geared again towards wellness. We have ATs, we have supplements, we have a supplement that is called Alpha Prostate, and that is for maintaining a healthy prostate. We have Women's Complete, which is a multivitamin for women, specifically for the Caribbean women, and we have Men's Complete, and again, that is specifically for the Caribbean man. And the Men's Complete is one of those products that we have what you call the horny goat weed that we do get great reviews on. So Eden Gardens is not just a hotel, it's not just an accommodation area, it is a composite of different, you may call it, product offering that suits individuals as related to health and wellness. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we're happy to have Corporate Mingle. A lot of the companies that we cater to for meetings and weddings are actually within the New Kingston area. So it's pretty much, it's being able to showcase different sides to Eden Gardens, from corporate events, meetings, functions, seminars, and so forth. We do just as many corporate functions as we do weddings. So it's nice to have the corporate community to let them know that, you know, we are here and we are actually expanding, you know, in a development. We will be starting a new development in a matter of months to expand Eden Gardens Resort. So we're really looking to now be able to offer not only accommodations and wellness spa, you know, that kind of thing. We're looking to beef up our capacity, you know, to be able to host larger groups, possibly conferences, and so forth.
Well, the expected turnout was definitely met. I think we had a large variation of persons, you know, from different entities, and I think the networking was great. I think it was a good partnership of the different companies, and in all, we achieved our goal was to pretty much get persons together to network and to share the different services.
Corporate Mingle allows persons to come out and share ideas and share mistakes that they already made. So persons can see which path is easier to take or which path is better for them to take in the venture that they're in. So for example, as for fashion designers, there's a different path for fashion designers as it pertains to financial services. There's a different path for persons who are in food than it is for persons who are in cosmetics. So when you come to Corporate Mingle, you get to hear all the ideas that are out there. You get to go back, re-advise your whole business plan. You get to look back at what you have and see if it's meets what the market needs. For the past 7 months, Creative Media and Events have been a part of a lot of expos. So we decided to design an expo for ourselves. So for us to do like a mini expo is for the persons who have businesses that aren't really out there, who don't have advertising space on television, who don't have advertising space on the radio, and they get a chance to come here, set up a whole exhibit and go directly to their consumers. They get a new advertising space, a new space for them to brand themselves and to meet their customers directly.
The CIBC First Caribbean award-winning security features enables customers using their mobile phone to view transactions as they occur, and they can also make credit card payments in real time. They can enable the alert feature and receive notifications once the card is used. They can set alerts based on the transaction types, whether it is international or online, and they can freeze the card if it is misplaced or unfreeze it once it is found. And this is all from your phone. To get this amazing offer, it's pretty easy. All persons need is to take the 3-month statements, the last 3-month statements of the card the balance that you're transferring, and you take in your proof of address. We need your proof of income, which is a salary letter and pay slip. You also need to take in the 3 months bank statements. Persons can go on our website at www.cibcfcib.com, or they may call us at 1-866-743-2257, or they can visit any of the CIBC First Caribbean branches island-wide.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
And welcome back to Business Access TV's coverage of Wealth Magazine's Corporate Mingle SME Mini Expo 2018. I'm your host, Amita Prasad-Webb, and please stay tuned for more highlights.
So Business Access TV's role here this evening, we are the media partners for Wealth Magazine Corporate Mingle. So we are at all the corporate mingles, we are capturing all the activities, and we're ensuring that it's packaged and it's aired multiple times on the station. So for those who were unable to make it here for the actual event, they can catch it another day. So based on the nature of Corporate Mingle, it's a networking event, and Business Access TV gets the opportunity to interact intimately with various businesses right across the industries. So we get the opportunity to get some brand exposure. We are no longer just in Jamaica. We are right across the Caribbean territories in 13 islands on the Flow network, and in Jamaica we're on all major cable service providers. We have grown and we continue to grow as the years go by.
We're bringing a wide range of energy-saving items
We're all about energy conservation, and we're trying to spread the message to Jamaicans that they can use a little less by purchasing energy-saving devices to ultimately save them some money in the long term. JPS has been committed over the last couple of years to productivity and driving growth of the Jamaican economy. And one of the areas that we see where there's a lot of waste is in energy, the energy usage, whether in business or residential customers. So for business customers, we're pushing energy solutions, which is renewable systems, which are a grid-tied system that allows them to stay on the grid, but benefit from the use of the sun. And for our residential customers is a wide range of energy-saving devices that also allow them to enjoy the things that they like, but to use energy responsibly. And ultimately, that money can be used now for other things that goes into education, recreation, and generally building out their lives how they would want to live it. We've always seen corporate mingles as an opportunity to talk one-on-one, especially with small and micro enterprises. And we will continue to support corporate mingle because we can see it as only beneficial for this country.
What is your main purpose for attending corporate mingle?
Certainly the networking. CME has produced, because you've been to other networking events before, but I think I like the method that they use in terms of how they get the people involved, just the whole layout, and just the type of businesses that they get into the space. You have a multiplicity of different types of like for instance for this different MSME sector, which I think is a good broad-based one. And based on what I do as well, it's useful for me to come out and know what is happening with micro businesses or medium-sized businesses. So for me, the key takeaway is the exposure to what is happening in the sector, learning about some of the key players, and building or certainly meeting new persons that you can interact with to help and advance some of what you're doing. So I think that is very, very important. Always being able to keep abreast of what is happening in the sector, who are the players in the sector, how can I interact and benefit, and how can I give in terms of what I am doing to support what is happening in the sector.
JNSBL firstly is the #1 microfinancing entity in Jamaica. We have been around for 21 years, and our function basically is servicing the MSE sector, persons in microfinancing, that kind of thing, persons who are on a small scale business. That's what we do. And we offer several suites of loans. Basically every year we keep on coming up with different kinds of loans to suit each and every unique person or unique business within our corporate or small business sector. And so as it is now, we have our TEF loan, where we basically partner with the Tourism Enhancement Fund, which is a government entity that offers assistance to not just corporate entities, but also to other persons who are trying to do business within the tourism sector. So as it is, we have one of our 5% loans. It's quite awesome for persons within the tourism sector. So if you're in craft, if you're in transportation, if it is that you are trying to add or to start from scratch building a villa of sorts, we offer up to 25 million for that as well. And so as I said, we partner with the Tourism Enhancement Fund, so it comes at 5%, which is ridiculously low.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life runs art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So Bumblebee Digital Agency, we're a digital agency.
very new to Jamaica. We started in July. We're the only ones who really offering Wi-Fi advertising on the JUTC buses, Juta, and Tropical Tours. This is really offered in 15-minute sessions, so it's free Wi-Fi to the commuters, and the advertising space is available before. So when the user goes on to the JUTC bus and they access the Wi-Fi by Growth Tech, they receive a splash page that just says Wi-Fi is here, and they complete a form that asks for their age, gender, and email address, maybe telephone number. After they complete that form, they see a 30-second ad. When the 30-second ad finishes, they experience 15 minutes of free Wi-Fi session uninterrupted. Other than Wi-Fi advertising, we also offer social media management as well as other forms of digital advertising. So we're really full service. So once you want to do something extremely creative with your brand, then Bumblebee is here to bring the buzz everywhere.
One of the good things about attending Corporate Mingle is that you get to meet persons who are not normally privy to the Nissan brand, and they tend to not want to come downtown. So it's a way of bringing downtown and Nissan up to this section.
What was your expectation of the evening, and was your expectation met, or were your expectations met?
Yes, handed out a few business cards, met a couple of persons, and looking at some of the booth as well. I actually purchased something, so I'm hoping to get a sale as well. So that's one of the good things about coming to the Corporate Mingle, because you get to meet people and hope to capitalize on persons buying a vehicle. Because even though we only have one vehicle at the expo now, we actually carry a wide range of other vehicles. Come on down to Fidelity Motors, the home of Nissan. We have all 2019 models available. The Nissan X-Trail, we have that in 2 packages. We have our pickup, which is the Nissan Frontier. For commercial persons, we have the 16-seater buses. We have those in automatic as well as a manual transmission. And those are mostly for our Juta customers, so they can come on down to Fidelity Motors.
We have Keyman Insurance, that if you have like a business and stuff like that, you can do insurance for your partner, stuff like that. We also have critical illness, because that's a problem right now in Jamaica, right? So we have a lot of 2 products that we actually do critical illness on. Since December, we have actually launched our individual health insurance. A lot of persons were actually asking for that, so we launched that December gone. So we're in the business of doing individual health insurance. Once we used to do group, now we're doing individual. So as an individual person, you can actually come in and sign up and get your card and stuff like that.
Let me add to that. We have plans that fit the needs of all persons, because we have plans that for persons, we have medical plans and we have non-medical plans, right? And for instance, you can't pass a medical. We have a plan that can facilitate that purpose. You have persons who have pre-existing condition, so we provide insurance that everybody can have an insurance policy, whether it's to prepare for your family or it's just for yourself. We have investment policies that you can benefit from, and our interest rate at Guardian is very attractive.
Why did Guardian Group decide to come on Expose tonight?
Well, because to showcase our products for one, and to show the public how much we care for their needs, and we have a variety of products to offer to persons who would like to come and be a part of Guardian Life.
Firstly, I want to say thank you to CME for executing this wonderful event. I think it's an excellent platform for small to large businesses to come by and showcase all their products. Not to mention, it's just an excellent way to network and have a wonderful time on a Friday evening. So my name is Roxanne Wise-Shirley. I'm here at the Corporate Mingle event. I'm here representing the Guardsman Group. We're actually here to showcase our newest product, which is called the Lappa. The Lappa is actually a Bluetooth tracking device, which pretty much can track anything that you frequently lose or anything that you want to find very quickly. So I actually have it here. It's a small device that you can put on your car keys, your house keys, you can put it on your handbag, a laptop bag, your pet, your child, literally anything you can think of that you want to find. So it comes with an app, so you download the app is free. And this laptop actually communicates with the app. So if you want to find something, all you have to do, go on the app on your phone, you can press the alert, and then this laptop will start beeping. Not only will it beep to alert you as to where it is, but the app will actually show you exactly where the laptop is or how close you are to the laptop. Oh my gosh, everybody loves it. Firstly, there is no other device on the market like this. This is the first time that this is hitting Jamaica. So everyone is just amazed by it because everybody's like, really? This thing can let me find my phone easily? It can let me find my car keys, you know? So everybody's very, very excited about it. And so we're very happy to get that response. So, I mean, everybody loves it. I mean, I love it. The entire corporate mingle seems to love it. And we've already gotten a lot of sales from it. So we're very excited.
What are the functions of the BSJ?
The Bureau of Standards Jamaica is a government agency, and at this point we are seeking to highlight the fact that we are a service organization helping to facilitate persons involved in industry. The first thing that we do, we help to set standards, and in addition to setting standards, we also offer training in a range of standards-related areas, including HACCP, good manufacturing practices, labeling. We also provide testing and calibration services, certification through our National Certification Body of Jamaica, and the Bureau of Standards Jamaica is seeking to help industry understand the importance of the use of standards to excel in business here in Jamaica and to excel in business outside of Jamaica.
So how does participating in Corporate Mingle help to boost your brand?
Well, certainly the BSJ recognizes, as we have done a bit of rebranding in the last year and a half, and we are less a regulatory body, it's critical that we present to industry and the persons, key players in the industry, what are the services we offer. We are hoping that by being here, many of those persons who participate, who need to access services, will recognize that the BSJ provides testing, provides calibration, and offers training in a range of areas. It really can only help to advance our cause and to improve our bottom line.
Another Business Access TV coverage of the Wealth Magazine Corporate Mingle SME Mini Expo 2018. I've been your host, Amita Pasado, and thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.
Coming up on Jamaica Magazine.
Pre-planning is necessary for recovery and resilience.
And as we focus on the 2019 Atlantic hurricane season, the call has been made.
Jamaicans should be prepared.
Plus,
our total beneficiary count to include JADEP and NHF is about 818,000 persons.
The National Health Fund providing coverage for 17 illnesses. Hello, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stick around for the details.
Motorists, when driving on the road, here are some simple reminders. Look out for and extend courtesy to all road users. Give plenty of room to pedestrians, especially in wet weather. Drive slowly. No bother wet them up. Slow down when approaching a pedestrian crossing or school, and always be prepared to stop. Remember, a school zone is a 30-kilometer zone. Cut your speed. Drivers of large and slow-moving vehicles should always keep in the far left hand of a dual carriageway. Keep it simple. Drive left and pass right. These are just simple reminders of your road duties. Drive safely.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, September 19. Jamaica has completed its 6th and final review under the precautionary standby arrangement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The review was conducted between September 9 and 19 and will now go to the IMF Executive Board for final approval, making a total of $1.63 billion accessible to the country.
We have worked with transparency. We have worked diligently to ensure that we meet all the targets that we have set for ourselves. And this is a major achievement in our political economy and in our development generally. It was a program that tested our own resolve to be true to our own real economic interests.
During a press briefing at his office Wednesday, the Prime Minister expressed confidence that with the IMF now out of the room, government can maintain the fiscal discipline that the country has committed to over the last 10 years. IMF Director for the Western Hemisphere Department, Dr. Alejandro Werner, agreed.
We are convinced that all these policies will support private sector development and increase investment opportunities in Jamaica that will lead to increased employment, growth, and the continued reduction of poverty in the next 5 years.
Jamaica's precautionary standby arrangement with the IMF started in 2016, replacing a previous 4-year extended fund facility. The current program is scheduled to officially end on November 8. But the country will continue to benefit from technical assistance, and the IMF's Jamaica office will be maintained for an additional 2 years. 12 firearms have been recovered in the St. Andrews South Police Division since the implementation of a state of emergency on July 7. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure during Tuesday's sitting of Parliament. He said there were other notable successes from the state of emergency.
Murders in St. Andrews South Division have reduced by 73%, from 48 murders to 13 murders over the period 7th of July 2019 to the 11th of September 2019, 67 days since the declaration of the SOE, when compared to the previous 67 days. Shootings in the St. Andrews South Police Division have also reduced by 61%, making the similar comparison.
The state of emergency in St. Andrews South will expire on October 5. In the meantime, opening hours are being extended for businesses operating in St. Catherine and Clarendon, which are now under a state of public emergency. For the first 14 days after the security measure was declared on September 5, businesses in the parishes were ordered closed by 9 p.m. But National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says that after consultation with the security forces and the business community, the times will be lengthened.
We have agreed to look at the hours going into it. I have in fact drafted some hours open to debate, but we are looking at moving the hours from 8 to 10 and in some cases to 11 o'clock.
A similar adjustment for business operating hours in Westmoreland, Hanover and St. James was carried out on August 25. Closing time for establishments in those parishes are now between 10 p.m. and midnight.
The government is, Mr. Speaker, faced with a balancing act. So we agree we have to get it right. But in this balancing act, there's one thing that we are clear on. The right to life supersedes every other right. There is no balancing saving one life with rent, loss of revenue. There's no balance there. You can't equate the two.
Jamaica's bunkering industry is now ready to supply ships with LNG fuel following New Fortress's investment in the industry. Minister of Transport and Mining Robert Montague says Jamaica is moving to become the regional leader in bunkering in the Western Hemisphere.
We are open for business. Bunkering creates some 900 direct high-paying jobs in Jamaica and approximately 3,000 indirect jobs. So it is vital to our economy. We are projecting to get 10% of the ships that pass through the Panama Canal.
The minister was speaking recently at the opening ceremony for the second International Bunker Industry Association Caribbean Bunker Conference. The National Minimum Wage Commission wants engagement from the wider public as it seeks consultation on the minimum wage. The Commission is hosting a series of consultations in collaboration with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security under the theme, Engaging, Listening and Advising. They began in Montego Bay on September 12 and continue with engagements in Portland on September 24. The team will also seek the input of employees and employers in Manchester, St. Anne, and Kingston.
We believe, especially when it comes to persons who are at the bottom tier, to ask them to make presentation and documentation with respect to how they see the minimum wage. It's our experience that we don't see much of that.
And finally, scores of residents in Somerton St. James and its environs benefited last week from free dental services. The 5-day engagement was held at the Somerton All-Age School, led by a team of 45 professional and student dental care volunteers from the United States of America, Canada, and the Caribbean. They are part of Great Shape Inc.'s 1000 Smiles project, which operates a free dental clinic in Jamaica each year in collaboration with the Sandals Foundation.
Great Shapes has been going around for 16 years in Jamaica, and we are happy to help the people of Jamaica.
Along with cleaning, filling, and extracting teeth, they also go into nearby schools and they educate children, tell them how to practice proper oral hygiene, and they also leave them with resources that will help them in their day-to-day dental care. So it's a great partnership.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Protect yourself from the flu virus. Visit your nearest health center or doctor to get the flu vaccine. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or by using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid the spread of germs by not touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. And be sure to regularly disinfect surfaces and objects that are used often. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
Did you know that the National Health Fund provides coverage for 17 illnesses? To know how you can benefit and apply for a card, watch this.
When you hear the name National Health Fund, you think of a card that allows certain individuals to get free medication or medication at a reduced cost. But there's more to the agency, as it also supports the development of our national healthcare system.
Right, the National Health Fund was set up some 15 years ago to provide support to healthcare in Jamaica. And at the time, it was thought that the agency would cover some key illnesses in terms of the medication aspect of care. And I think we started with 13 chronic conditions in terms of coverage. And it really provides support to persons, Jamaicans specifically, who have those chronic conditions. We also provide support to public institutions in terms of support for capital projects, supporting health promotion programs, and just generally providing support in great areas of need in healthcare in Jamaica.
Yes, and the direct benefits to us Jamaicans. Who benefits? How can they apply? Let us talk about that.
Right. Well, the NHF and JADEP cards are our major platforms for offering health servicing to beneficiaries. For the NHF card, once you're diagnosed with any of the chronic illnesses listed, and we now cover 17 conditions. I think we recently added 2, sickle cell in 2015 and lupus a few months ago. Once you're diagnosed with any of those conditions, we have our application form. Your doctor verifies you have the condition. You then come into any one of our offices and you get your card within 15 to 30 minutes. Initially, the benefit was mainly offered through our Kingston office, but we have listened to our stakeholders and we now have access to the NHF card on a same-day basis in every single parish in Jamaica. For the JADEP card, it's a card for persons 60 years and above. So once you get to 60 and you are diagnosed with any of the chronic illnesses covered, then you can also get the JADEP benefits.
All right, so the JADEP card is for 60 years, person 60 years and over, but the NHF is for any age.
Any Jamaican, regardless of your economic situation, regardless of your age, once you have that chronic illness, then you can qualify. Then you qualify for the NHF benefit.
Right. About how many persons do we have benefiting now from these two initiatives?
Right. Our total beneficiary count to include JADEP and NHF is about 818,000 persons who are enrolled on these programs. 818,000 Jamaicans.
Right. Can you speak specifically to the illnesses that are covered?
Right. I mentioned earlier we cover 17 illnesses. And this is based on the illnesses that most Jamaicans would be affected by. So it includes asthma, arthritis, diabetes, hypertension, and other chronic illnesses, lupus. We also cover breast cancer in terms of the drugs, prostate cancer, and a number of other illnesses.
Right. So in terms of the cancer, you do the drugs, but do you do some of the treatments like chemotherapy or radiotherapy?
No, we only do the drugs. We actually provide a larger subsidy for those drugs because of the high cost of cancer care. So we provide drugs through our card programs for breast cancer and prostate cancer.
Tell us about the costs as it relates to both cards, the different cards.
Well, for the JADEP card, the drugs are free of cost, except that beneficiaries contribute to the dispensing fee, which is $40 per item, up to a maximum of $240. So no beneficiary will pay more than $240. For the NHF card, it is a different arrangement where we pay a subsidy depending on the illness. It ranges between 40 up to about 70%. We provide a greater coverage for conditions like breast cancer and prostate cancer, where the cost of those drugs tend to be a lot more. And the beneficiaries will then co-pay.
Yes.
And in some cases, they have both the NHF card and the health insurance card, which leads to a lower co-pay, which allows greater access.
Right. So I have a health insurance with a private company, and I have the NHF card.
Right.
I can use them together.
Right.
Thank you so very much for sharing with us on the NHF in this week's edition of Get the Facts.
My pleasure.
It's time to understand more about the protected area of the Cockpit Country, its boundaries and water resources.
Hello Hello and welcome to OPM Connect, the program that helps you to understand the plans and programs of the government. I'm Naomi Francis. Today we talk the cockpit country. What informs the boundaries? What are the issues and how will the government address those issues? We're pleased to be joined today by Senator Robert Morgan, the Parliamentary Secretary at the Office of the Prime Minister, Marilyn Headley, the CEO and Conservator of Forests, and Mr. Peter Clark, the Managing Director of the Water Resources Authority. A very strong panel here to talk about the cockpit country. Let me start off with the Conservator of Forests and help us understand what is the cockpit country and what informs the boundaries.
Good afternoon, Naomi, and your listeners and watchers. The cockpit country is an area that we identified. We started off the identification with the geomorphological features. So if you look at the map, you will see the area that is karst limestone. That was the first decision made once we identified that this boundary will cover the cockpit country. From then we moved on to say what areas of that will be protected. And with that, the southeastern end, you will see, is degraded karst. So we eliminated that and decided that we would do the protection for the areas above that and covering everything else, and then add some more forests, some closed broadleaf forests. So if you look now on the map, you will see the map that shows you the boundary, that the area that will be protected. That area will include all of the karst limestone, except the part in the southeast that goes to Christiana. It then adds the closed broadleaf forest to the east, which is the Litchfield, Matheson Run area, and some closed broadleaf forest to the west, which is the Fife and Rankin area. And then now that moves on to give you the cockpit country boundary, which encompasses initially 74,000 plus hectares. But now as we do the ground shooting, we are up to 76,000 plus hectares. We are finding that there are other areas that we are including just to accommodate the line in a navigable way.
And that's what we call the ground truthing process.
That is called ground truthing. And then after we've done that now, and it is then verified by the National Land Agency, we put it in the permanent markers. And once we have the permanent markers in, it tells you where the boundary will be.
Fantastic. Sounds like an involved process and clearly a process that would not just have emerged overnight. So let me go to Senator Morgan, because it would have been a process that would have taken some time to evolve. Can you tell us about that process?
With various petitions that were launched, discussions accelerated within the government, and all the stakeholders, the Water Resources Authority, the Bauxite Institute, the Forestry Department, the National Environmental Protection Agency, including the environmentalists, business people, young people's representatives, and the Partnership Council, which is basically the consultative framework within the government, sat down for many months to discuss and look at the various studies that have been done by Dale Weber, by Paris Leo over the years, to determine what is the best approach to protect the area that is the cockpit country. At the end of the discussions, looking at all the geological implications, all the ecological and hydrological resources that are there that are important to the country, a determination was made that the proposed cockpit country protected area would encompass 74,000 thereabout hectares of land, which is about 7% of the entire Jamaica. Interestingly, the cockpit country is very rich. Some areas of it is rich in bauxite. And one of the things that we had to do when the proposed protected area was being determined was that there was already a special mining license that exists that encompassed areas that were to be protected. We had to cut that in half, basically.
So some of that area is now in the protected cockpit country area.
So there were licenses that were signed before our government, a long time ago, that encompassed areas that are currently in the protected area, that the government had to make a decision to take away a lot of those resources from the bauxite company to protect it. Because even though as a government we recognize that mining is very important economically, we still consider that protecting the water resources, the ecological resources, the flora and fauna is actually more important.
It's interesting you mentioned the ecological issues, because we have Mr. Clark here who'll talk a little bit too about the geomorphology that would have informed those issues that would have informed the boundary situation as well. If you could, Mr. Clark, help us from the Water Resources Authority. Lots of people say there are aquifers in the area. The Cockpit Country, Ms. Headley, as you would have said, covers 5 parishes,
Yes.
very broad area. So in terms of looking at the water channels, help us understand that.
Well, the Cockpit Country provides roughly 38 to 40% of Jamaica's water resources that we have available to exploit, surface water resources. So we have roughly 13 rivers that emanate from the Cockpit Country. All of them, I would say, are all important rivers. Separate and apart from the rivers, there are identified springs and streams. I would say about 19 springs. And another hydrological feature would be the caves and sinkholes. These caves and sinkholes are what are part of the introductory conduit system to bring the water from being rainfall, that is now has become surface water, to eventually be feeding these rivers. So it is recognized that the caves and the sinkholes are important hydrological features as well. The Cockpit Country protected area, in encompassing all of these, now protects these headwaters and source waters, because some of these rivers actually, in response to the matter of the geomorphology, some of these rivers sink and then rise again, sometimes within the same Cockpit Country protected area, and then sometimes outside of the Cockpit Country protected area. So having protected them at their source, it means that at the end of the day, we have protected these, I would say, 13 major rivers within the center to the west of Jamaica.
Let me ask you a very straight up question, which is part of some of the issues that are being raised by persons within the society. Does mining affect the aquifers in the area, any at all?
Well, we have no evidence that mining affects the water resources. The question of aquifers is a little bit, we're getting into a little bit deeper geology now. The water sources and the water movement within the Cockpit Country is not like how you'd have the aquifers on the South Clarendon Plains, for instance.
Right.
Because it's limestone, we have a lot more conduit piping type of flow. Okay, and this is why rivers will rise and sink, because the cavernous nature of the limestone lends itself to that. So a lot of the water, I will admit that I will say that there will be sections where there will be pools of water, for instance, but it's not necessarily, in underground caverns, but it's not necessarily that you have aquifers that you'll be tapping into to for instance, drill into. However, the importance is recognized not necessarily from a drilling or a water abstraction stage, but the importance of this water as it now flows through the conduits to now become the rivers.
Thank you so much, Senator Robert Morgan, Ms. Marilyn Headley, and Mr. Peter Clark from Water Resources Authority. Really a very, very enlightening discussion. We thank you on social media for joining us. Join us again next time for another edition of OPM Connect.
Yo, this is we're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. But everybody have a role to play, so make we work together and follow the plan. Whether rich or poor or where you come from, hurricanes affect everyone, so be prepared. Prevention is better than cure. Be prepared. Listen to ADPEM. A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
As the country stands ready to respond to a possible hit from a hurricane this season, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is urging persons in flood-prone areas to finalize their evacuation plans. He also calls on members of Parliament to formulate disaster plans for their constituencies.
Jamaica should be prepared. And I'm saying this bearing in mind what has happened to the Bahamas. Jamaicans should be prepared. And this means stocking up on the supplies that you would need in the event of a storm, your candles, your batteries, your canned food, your water supply, warm clothing. Also, Mr. Speaker, I want to take the opportunity to say to persons who live in low-lying areas or areas that have in the past been flood-prone or have been affected in times of hurricanes, that whilst your property is important, I would think that your life is more important than your property. And so it is wise, now we are in the hurricane season, to start putting together your alternative plans. Make contact with those relatives that you have in safer areas or friends that you have in the event that you have to evacuate. Plan out your routes, your mode of transportation if the worst should happen. Mr. Speaker, we have already started as a government to put in place our response plans. We always have plans in place. The ODPEM and all the agencies that are involved in first response in the event of a hurricane, we always have these plans in place. We're meeting constantly. But given what has happened in 2017, when we experienced 2 Category 5 hurricanes that wiped out entire countries, and then what has happened now, I believe we have to intensify our planning. And I have always held the view that when we were threatened by Hurricane Matthew, that it is important that the Parliament is mobilized. So I'm urging MPs to start thinking in this way, looking in your constituency to see the communities that may be at risk, start to make contact with them so that they are prepared to move if they have to move. Start the conversation about evacuation and how you will secure those areas that are evacuated. All of those pre-planning is necessary for recovery and resilience.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The uses of bamboo are endless, from textiles to paper to food to furniture. The Chinese have developed their bamboo industry into a US $14 billion enterprise. But can Jamaica profit from this fast-growing plant? Today on Cameo, we will take a look at bamboo and wicker furniture. artisanal bamboo factory has been in operation since 1990, creating quality bamboo furniture for every room in your home. I had a chat with Chief Executive Officer John Hamilton.
So that bamboo factory started 25 years ago. But I came back from, I was traveling around the world after college for about a year, and in my trips I went to Thailand, and in Thailand I went to a place and saw them cutting down the bamboo and making huts, and I thought to myself, well, this is, makes sense, and we have lots of bamboo in Jamaica. When I go back to Jamaica, maybe I'll utilize the bamboo a bit more efficiently. I got enticed into working in movies, in the set design and props for a few years. And those jobs, they come and they go until you kind of wonder when the next job is coming in. I met Dominic Gassez, who was also doing it, and the two of us wanted, were friendly and wanted to do something together, and then we went to a party and saw some furniture, and that led to the idea of maybe making bamboo furniture. I had to just drive out into the country and spot bamboo growing in a hill and check a man whose bamboo is that, or and you get one lead, one man will say, I know where some bamboo is, and take you there, and the next man. And that sort of gets you onto the road, and after that you're kind of away. And then of course the advent of cell phone, because there wasn't cell phone back then. Nowadays people call you and say they have the bamboo ready, and they cut it and do everything themselves, and you just order it on the phone. So we've taken that process of us going to the bush and having to cut the bamboo and spend the day with a chainsaw, cooking in a big pot, and everybody having a merry time. The process starts when you give the builder the design with all the particulars, dimensions, what he's to get. And then he goes out and looks in our stocks and selects all the bamboo that he would need for that. And those pieces of bamboo are cut into certain lengths that he needs. Once the builder has selected the bamboo for the certain job, he gives that bamboo to a scraper, and he or she scrapes the bamboo with a sharp kitchen knife and removes all the outer skin. This allows the bamboo to have a more uniform color in appearance, and it also gives it a better treatment process so that the chemicals can penetrate the bamboo better when the bamboo is scraped. So we actually have to scrape it twice. But after the scraping, the bamboos are dipped in a dip tank for a few hours, and then left to dry for the rest of the day or another day or something. And after that, then they're made into furniture using hole saws, drills. It's low in capital because the machines we use are just basically hand drills, a belt sander, and that's it. I mean, we tried a bandsaw. When you chop the bamboo, it frays. So the best way to cut a bamboo is to turn it and cut it. As you're turning the bamboo, you're cutting it. And the best saw to cut the bamboo is like a sharp teeth saw where you have double edge. It cuts the bamboo best, or a hacksaw. And you can go through these saws rapidly. It's hard, they're difficult to sharpen, and hacksaws, you just need a new blade and all that. So, the biggest expense was really going to the bush and procuring the bamboo, and also treating the bamboo with buying the chemicals and whatever. Make a lot of things, but our bamboo is not quite as good as what they have in the Far East, and so you don't have the straight lines quite, and the wall thickness is not consistent, and a lot of factors. Plus you have to make sure that you treat the bamboo properly for bugs and stuff, and for outdoor use it's limited in its it can be vulnerable to the elements, so you have to look at special ways to treat the bamboo and protect it from the sun and the rain if being used on a veranda or something. And well, as you know, it's been talked about and hyped up a lot in the press. Bamboo is the future and this and that, and the amount of millions of dollars other countries make out of their bamboo and stuff, and why can't Jamaica make the same? So I don't think it's necessarily dying. It's a little bit it's actually in its infancy still, although we've been in it business for 25 years, pioneering it really. There are a number of people showing interest. There was one other furniture place, but they got special funding and they no longer doing it. But you know, the charcoal business with bamboo, and there's other little products that they can use with bamboo that other people are looking to do, bamboo shoots for food and stuff. We'll see. Right, in fact, this morning some people came by that want to lease some land from me right next to us to do bamboo business, making charcoal amongst other things and utilizing the bamboo in energy. So we're trying to encourage that and maybe give them some land so that they can, it'll be a sort of bamboo mecca right here. Well, it's difficult to, when you're coming up with a business plan and the concept and the idea and everything, you never really know what you're going into fully. So it's one thing making up a business plan, another thing actually executing it successfully, and all the pitfalls and all the things that come along that you never really accounted for in the first place. So you have to be cautious of that and build that into your business plan. Also the market and the fickle market, and you know what is if you have you know, an outlet that is going to take your things to start with, or do you have to make it all and then go to the market with your product and then try to flog it, you know, which we did basically. It's not easy, but you know, I could probably do better and get more salespeople on the road out there marketing it. But that's what you got to do. Go from, you know, that's what we've had to do. Go from hotel to hotel, knocking on doors. You know, and a lot of these big hotels, you think they're coming in to buy furniture. You know, I remember when we first came here, Jampro brought us all, the producers, together, and the executives toured this sort of conference, this hall of all these products. And when they came to ours, they loved it. And they said, oh yes, you got a call back. Come to the hotel in the grill and whatever, and we want to see more of your products and set up a room and all this. But at the end of the day, they went foreign and brought in their furniture, and they never used local really products. So, you know, they have the Dominican Republic or Mexico or whatever doing, and they use a standard thing in their hotel, especially light chains of hotel. They use a standard thing, which is not, you know, we're not the standard, we're special boutique hotel type things. But then, when you do have a boutique hotel that buys from you, yes, you know, utilize the internet and the marketing tools in that respect. You know, they can get a lot of mileage from that. And you know, I did it on piecework, farm it out. You know, do your costs carefully. Get, you know, and have a good accounting knowledge. It's not just an idea and something like that. The business sense and your accounts need to be kept in order from day one and looked after carefully. You can easily get carried away in your production and running around the place selling and making, and you're actually, the more you make, the more you lose. So you have to have your figures, you have to have that side well pat down. Yeah. Well, we're hoping to have these other company close to us now. So we'll see what that takes us into that realm, utilizing the bamboo, charcoal, making energy, using the energy in treating the bamboo, in heating and all sorts of things. Trying to find some funds to just increase the marketing aspect and the internet and the website. Still, our catalogue is so much better than our website that if people knew really what we did, I think we'd get more sales. And everyone sees us and everyone sees our products, they all go, wow, you must be making money, and boy, you can sell this, and you know, aren't you guys rolling in it, you know, because you have such a good thing. And Why, you know, I didn't know this existed. Wow, this is fantastic, you know. So it's really to get the word out and promote it that will lead to further sales. And
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test.
Free eye testing is back and it's here to stay. Island Eyewear offers free eye testing every day, all day at all locations island-wide. Conditions apply. Make your appointment today at www.islandeyewear.com or call us 630-1180. Island Eyewear, your style, your price.
It's Island Hour, free eye test.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Horace Thomas, owner of Unique Wicker Works, talks to us about the business of wicker products. Wicker is a woven fiber formed into a rigid material, usually used for baskets or furniture. The plant use is found in St. Mary, St. Anne, St. Catherine, and Westmoreland. The terrain is often difficult to reach and hazardous.
It grew up in mountains, you know, but it preferably cool climate. But it also can bear in sun.
Vines are used for tying and binding in furniture making or basketry. In order for the vines to be used, the outer layer needs to be stripped and dried.
We gather it in bungle and then bring it to my location. That's my shop here. I have a little machine around the side of the shop which I strip it out, put it in the sun dries it, and then water, and then so on, chairs and baskets. I make headboards, I make entertainment stand, dining table, I make hats, I make even ring, yeah, I make bracelets. People from all walks of life love wicker, you know. Every nation loves wicker.
Dave sells his products to both tourists and locals. His website, davecustomwicker.com, gives him an edge for international orders.
But the smaller stuff now, I like to sell to the tourists because the tourists them like to take the souvenirs and some of the smaller things like the basket and stuff. Like the tourists them more buy them, like the chairs and stuff is like native people mostly patronize the chairs and stuff.
Selling about 200 pieces a year, low costs of inputs and prices ranging from $2,000 to $150,000, Dave Custom Wicker turns a profit every single year.
Well, these things have its season, you know. It have its season. When it's the season time, when like the tourist season, yes, we do alright, yes. Like coming up, the spring break coming up now. Problem I have sometimes when I don't take advance from customer. Sometimes I have a little problem because when I make the stuff, some people sometimes they don't turn up. But after a time it turns out to be sweet because we get to sell it otherwise. The lesson I learned from business, it teach me to patience. Because this work is faith. You have to have faith, strong faith. If you don't have the faith, you can't do the work. For example, I make this chair. I don't guarantee someone gonna buy it. We just make it. But the faith tell me that somebody going to buy it. And somebody buy it. So all my life is just faith I work with. We sit here the other day, And a gentleman just come in, one customer, 60 chairs. I never know he was coming. So that one customer now, it gave me 20 customers. So the work is just the fate. Oh yeah, we like to get a contract with the hotels so we can produce more chairs for them and tables, you know? Yeah. Say to the youth them, it's good to learn a skill because when you have a skill, you're more grounded. Yeah, you're more grounded in life when you have a skill and you keep it out of trouble. Yeah. And them said by the sweat of your brow, that's how you eat bread, you know? So hard work is good for the soul.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
I'm Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
Alton Watts of Modern Woodcraft Limited talks to us about making wood furniture products, challenges in the industry, and his business.
Modern Woodcraft started in 1979. That was a period when a lot of manufacturers were closing their business and migrating. So we entered the manufacturing business at that point, manufacturing furniture for homes, offices. We specialize in wooden product. That is, we use mahogany, cedar, poplar, and wood of that nature. We do not use superboard or bagasse. If you see in our tagline, we make our products from real wood. 40% of what we do is in kitchen and fixtures, comprising closets, along that line, and then you have wooden and upholstered furniture, as the other 60%, as well as office, desk, and chairs. Those days, if you had $10,000 to start a business, that was a whole lot of money. 10,000 then is like 10 million now. Because I remember a machine that we bought for probably about $250. Then it's probably about 150,000 for it now. But we started quite humble with just about 3 machines and 5 workers, and continued over the period. Selection of lumber is very important because that will guide what color you are going to put onto it. You have to know the grain of the wood depending on what your customer is asking for. You would like to know that the grain run in similar direction, not some going that way and some going this way. You have to make sure the lumber is cured. Then you send those lumber to a rough cut department where they are cut to the size of which you're going to use. Then it moved from the rough cut department to a finish cut department, which is final cut. Job is squared, sanded, and whatever mortise and tenon that you have to cut. And then it is passed on to assembling department. From the polishing then, or the upholstering for that matter, if it's upholstering furniture, then you will talk about the quality control to make sure that it is up to standard and to the customer's expectation. The number of persons you have depending on the season. Going towards Christmas, you know, you will have extra, but January to September, it is always low. The good old days, we used to have up to 60 people working here, but this is not the case now because of how the economy is going. We find that these days, the customers that we are getting in now are those who have been sent here by their parents. When they were children, their parents bought from us. So they'll be coming now and say, you build my bedroom set when my mother or my parents move into this new house or something like that. So they are moving out and they get their product from us. It takes a lot out of you to, first of all, interpret what the customer wants. Most customers have an idea what they want, but they can't tell you how. So you have to interpret that, then convert that in drawing for them to understand, and then you proceed to make it. It's not an easy task. If you're going to cut some board and nail it together, a different story. But if you are doing good quality furniture, it's an art. The bulk of it is imported material because right now, mahogany has become so expensive that the demand, people want it, but the price is so expensive. So the bulk of what we use now is poplar wood, which is imported, or cedar, which is local. You have to know the business that you are going into, and you have to love it. You have to give it attention, just like how you would give attention to a family member. You have to remember the people you serve, which is our customer. As a business is never static, and one always have to be finding ways of innovating and improving. But one has to marry that with the economic climate that we are in. If you are going to buy some machine now, you have to ensure that you can get the volume of business to pay back for that machine. You have to ensure that the capital is available. So although we have plans to go forward, we have to gauge it in keeping with the economy and the experience that we have had both in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
And that's it for Cameo this week. We've taken a glimpse into bamboo and wicker furniture, all made in Jamaica. I've been your host, Amita Prasad Webb.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this. No more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 150 will actually transfer and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process, because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that the applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIF, that in 2 or 3 years, the enterprises will still be operational and the broader objective of the project would be achieved. Once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start the production and going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best will be selected. And then for those who are not successful, we are also hoping to link them to other providers of services, because I'm telling you today, from what I've seen, it is an excellent opportunity. It's worthy of note that many persons coming here today already have some kind of semblance of a business, but they need the additional support to move that business to the other level, as well as some persons that come in with just proposals to start from scratch. On behalf of the JSIF, we want to really thank the DBJ and other partners from UWI who came to be part of the panel, and just to remind you that the JSIF is here and we're investing for community development.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Stewart
Stewart's Automotive Group has become synonymous with the auto industry in Jamaica and is breaking ground for the construction of its new home of the Jaguar Land Rover brand. And Business Access TV is here at South Avenue for the coverage. I'm Jamila Maitland. Stay with us.
Thank you for being here. Good morning and Happy New Year. What an awesome event for us. I cannot believe that we're here today breaking ground, a project that we had hoped to have done in 2008. It's taken us an additional 10 years due to many ups and downs, and we've done it. We could not have done it without all of you here. You have held our hand on this journey, and for that, we love you and we thank you. The Stewart's Automotive Group is proud to be kicking off 2019 in a big way with the official groundbreaking of what will be the new Jaguar Land Rover showroom and service center. This is a historic day for us, and we're very excited about what it means for Jaguar Land Rover customers, the Stewart's Automotive Group, and ultimately Jamaica as a whole. So what does it mean? The new home of Jaguar Land Rover represents investment in the brand, the best to showcase its combination of versatility and luxury, an increased opportunity for employment, and the continued growth of our group and country, beautiful Jamaica. Jaguar Land Rover, the art of performance. I'm delighted to welcome you here this morning, and on behalf of the entire Stewart's Automotive Group, I'd like to thank you for joining us as we put shovel and dirt to mark this special occasion as we go above and beyond. So we're going to have some remarks from my brother Duncan Stewart.
The symbolic groundbreaking for a project that's very important to us. As you can see, we've already started, so this is a symbolic gesture today. Some history. Stewart's Automotive Group celebrates its 81st anniversary this year. And we are proud to continue the legacy that my grandfather, my father, and my mother have continued. This legacy has been built on hard work, determination, and investing when other people wouldn't. It has been built on service. Service to our customers, service to our staff, service to our country. And we are proud that this legacy continues in our young fourth generation who are here today with us. Our family took over Jaguar Land Rover brand 3 years ago. And since then, we've operated in a temporary facility at South Camp Road. In that time, we've grown from strength to strength by raising the benchmark for service and quality, whilst introducing fantastic new models that have raised the standards of luxury motoring in Jamaica. We are proud to say that many of you here today have experienced the brand promises of our premium products. Above and beyond for Land Rover, the art of performance for Jaguar, and I thank you for that. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to say that luxury has indeed found a new home right here. Here at Arthur Wint Drive, where both Jaguar and Land Rover will be housed. We are proud to say that we are bullish on Jamaica and bullish on the Jaguar Land Rover brands, putting our money where our mouth is. Our $13 million investment in this project will allow our group to offer our Jaguar Land Rover customers a world-class retail experience. And it will allow us to expand our horizons into real estate development with the additional space that we will have here for rent. The building will have 5 stories, covering approximately 5,000 square meters, 50,000 square feet for the rest of us, with JLR occupying the first 2 floors of the property, and we'll have rental property occupying the upper floors. We are working around the clock to have our showroom open and ready for the end of March, and to finish the project by September. And to give you some food for thought, what you see already built here started in October, so we are accelerating. Our Jaguar Land Rover facility will be very exciting. The first of its kind in the Caribbean, and of that we are proud. Built to Stuart's and Jaguar Land Rover's exacting standards. We've left no stone unturned to deliver on our family's promise of unparalleled service to our customers. With this facility, we will have the space to grow and to service our growing Jaguar Land Rover vehicle population in Jamaica. The layout, combined with investments in tooling and training, will allow us to raise our productivity. And of course, this standalone facility will give our customers exclusivity and dedicated attention that they don't have right now. Of course, any new construction, especially of this magnitude and investment, comes with benefits. For one, direct employment will be created for the persons in and around the community who will be part of the construction team. We will also house a business process outsourcing facility that will create employment opportunities for Jamaicans in this area and beyond. Secondly, our luxury brands Jaguar and Land Rover will now be housed here. The ambience and appeal of this location will no doubt be raised. We will set the standard in this area. Thirdly, we see this project as one that will heighten the sense of pride for persons operating and living in this area. And these are just a few of the many benefits that we will bring. I'm thankful to the government and other relevant stakeholders having played a very supportive role in this project to date. Prime Minister Holness, your presence today is a true demonstration of your support and that of your administration. On behalf of the entire Stuart's Automotive Group family, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with us. I'd also like this opportunity to thank our staff, our over 500 dedicated professionals whose hard work has made Stuart's Automotive the powerhouse that we are. We couldn't have done this without you. Finally, I would be remiss not to thank all of our valued customers across the entire group for all the brands that we represent. Thank you for continuing to trust us with your driving experience. Thanks to everyone.
I do want to commend the Stuart family for this investment here, and particularly because you're not just moving the showroom for Jaguar and Land Rover, but you're making an investment in space for the BPO industry, a sector that I believe in strongly, one that has demonstrated tremendous growth and one that will continue to grow. And I think the location, it's hard to find a more ideal location than this. You're on pretty much a main thoroughfare, you're close to major centers, and it will be, in my view, quickly snapped up by those investors who are looking for space. But you've made a commitment and you put your money where your mouth is. And this property, I think, is going to continue to change the landscape of this area. There is another building further up, Arthur Wint, which Daryl was at, where we broke ground. Wicon is building the lofts. There are other developments taking place which will transform the area. Persons are being employed on the construction. Persons will be here permanently. And I think it's a real testament to the commitment of the family. I know, going back to your grandfather, the second generation, you are the third, and I know the fourth is here. And I want to commend the family for this commitment, and in particular the matriarch, Diana, who continues to play her role in the family business. The country has seen a lot of growth, and I could probably name in this area alone 5 or 6 major projects taking place. And by major projects, if you're looking for a crane, you look for a crane when you're talking about a major project. And there are a number of them taking place. And that is a positive thing. It genuinely provides employment opportunities, and it's a good thing. So I'm happy as a member of Parliament to be a part of this and to support all the work that you're doing. And I want to commend the family again and pledge my support as you see through the construction.
Violence is bad.
Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
I am pleased to be here because it is a sign of the confidence that the private sector is having in the economy. Let me say clearly for everyone that this is not a simple matter for someone or a group of people to take up their savings or other people's savings, to put themselves in debt, to take a risk because there is no certainty or surety or guarantee in business. It is a risk. Obviously, entrepreneurs, enterprising people are not reckless people. They would have sat and they would have calculated the risk. They would have done their assessment. Now, Julian pointed out euphemistically that much progress started under his administration and we are building on it. And that's a good thing. That is not something that should be denied. That indeed is the definition of progress and prosperity. When you build on what was there and do better than what was there. But in this regard, I take note of Jackie's statement that this project was actually conceived in 2008. So you see, it is passing through administrations. But in the sense as well, there is a certain sadness because it has taken so long. And that, my friends, is the challenge with doing business in Jamaica. It takes far too long. We have to do things, obviously, to make it easier to do business. And Minister Vaz has charge of that with ensuring that all the various elements that go into the ease of doing business, that those elements are improved. And we are strategically focused on that. But doing business is also a function of the general macroeconomic environment. So the ease of doing business are usually microeconomic considerations. But the macroeconomy is also very important. Things such as interest rates, things such as certainty with taxes. What will the government do with its tax policy? And how will that affect your income streams when you make the investment? It is quite clear that from the fiscal standpoint, from the macro standpoint, government has acted in such a way as to give greater certainty to the economic environment to allow businesses to take future decisions, and not just short-term future, but long-term future decisions, and to bring forward or actualize their investment decisions. This would be a perfect example of that. So I believe Jamaicans can feel satisfied in their government that the continued sacrifice for fiscal discipline has resulted in an economic environment in which businesses can take decisions and risks about investments. But we still need to make even greater progress on the micro issues. For example, how long does it take a business to get electricity? How long does it take you to get titling? How long does it take you to get approvals to do all of this? And the mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew, my good friend, is here, and he knows the government's grave concern about how quickly we get the simple things done to make big investments happen. On another note, I observed keenly the last outturn on growth, 1.8%. Like most Jamaicans, I am not impressed. We want more growth, but we look at the glass for where it is. The truth is that we have been growing consistently. Not the level of growth that we want. I certainly don't consider it takeoff growth. When we get over 2%, then we will be in that range to start to take off. But as Julia knows, the investment decisions that you take today as business people do not have an immediate effect on growth. There is a lag. And that lag period in Jamaica, what we call the transmission of the growth, takes some time. Again, because of systemic weaknesses in our system, the lag between making the actual investment and that investment turning out and showing up in the growth figures takes some time. So you will see growth going into the future. But people always say to me, we see all these investments going on, as Julian was saying, that the national bird now is going to become the crane. Because we see so many cranes around Jamaica, particularly here in Kingston, new buildings being constructed. So it is a puzzle to many as to why is it that the growth numbers are not larger. And there are many explanations, and I seek to prefer one to be considered. For many years, there has been a disinvestment in capital. In other words, capital formation in Jamaica over the past few decades has been negative. So in the national accounting systems, the disinvestment and the negative capital formation would mean that your ability to grow and grow rapidly would be limited. What you're seeing happening now is a return to investment in capital goods. A building, especially a plant, is considered to be a capital investment. And you can measure that in many ways. One, you can see movement in the stock market. You can see movement in the private equity and debt market. Because usually those kinds of movement and liveliness in that market would signal that people are borrowing to make capital investments. And we're seeing that now happening in Jamaica. So the preconditions for significant growth is being set. But you're not going to see it happen just yet right now. Again, the transmission, the lag is there. And I've been to many groundbreakings of similar nature. An immediate effect on the economy is that it creates jobs. And I'm very happy for that. Because it is one thing to have growth, but growth without jobs is immiseration. So we are happy that the growth that we are seeing, even though it is not at the level at which we want it to be, it is creating significant employment. In fact, I'm proud to say there are more Jamaicans employed today than ever in the history of the employment statistics. That is the case. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, that Jamaica can and will achieve full employment. We need to continue this pace of capital formation. We need to continue this pace of investment, and we will achieve full employment, which in itself will create a larger demand, which in itself will drive consumption, which in itself will drive economic growth.
So Jaguar Land Rover has been sharing space with Suzuki down at our South Camp Road office, and frankly there's not enough space for both brands. So we've always been planning to build here, and so it's about saying when are the conditions right for us to make the right investment. And so we see that the track that Jamaica is going on, the track that Jaguar Land Rover as a brand is going on, means that's the right time to invest.
It has been 10 years in the making. What does this mean for the persons living around here and just development overall of this space?
Well, there are not many properties in Kingston this size that can be developed with what we want to do. So we're fortunate. We've owned this property for quite a long time. The construction here is bringing jobs to the neighborhood, so we are employing people here. All of the people who are working in the project are Jamaicans. So we have Jamaican construction, Jamaica architect, Jamaica engineers, and so on. And then, of course, the project, when it comes to fruition, is going to provide jobs because we'll have a BPO here. And, this property is well located centrally. We have a tertiary education institution next door. We have a hospital next door. And we have neighborhoods next door that, can provide workers with jobs in this industry. And, of course, for Jaguar Land Rover, we're getting our business all in one place, exclusive property just for Jaguar Land Rover customers. We're going to have productivity driven through our business because we are designing it from scratch.
You are celebrating your 81st anniversary. How long has this been in the making, and what do we expect from the Stewart's Automotive going forward?
So, we took over the Jaguar Land Rover brand 3 years ago. So it's been in the making for 3 years to put Jaguar Land Rover. Before we were going to put another brand here, but the circumstances of the Lehman crash made the economy and the motor vehicle business very tenuous. Now we have growth again. 2016 was the first year that the car business sold the same number of cars as 2007. So we've had a long time coming back to where we are now, and we see growth on the horizon, and we're very bullish about the future.
What would you say to investors who probably are a little bit skeptic about, putting money where their mouth is, as you said? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, the real issue is about whether you're confident about Jamaica, about Jamaicans, and about the future. And we are, and we invite other people to take the same view. If you look around, you do see people making investments. So it's not that we are alone, right? The thing is that it's time for Jamaicans to change their own future. We have to build it together, and we have to do it together.
That's it from us here at the groundbreaking ceremony for the showrooms of Jaguar and Land Rover. I'm Jamila Maitland for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that
education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got the chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, you know, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here, because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the whole program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world. So thank you, and I challenge you, continue it. It's needed.
On Point is brought to you by Crow Jamaica.
A very good evening and welcome to On Point. I'm your host, Patria K.
And I'm Dennis Chung.
And we've got a lot to talk about. Lots of things happening this week, Dennis, in Jamaica. Top of your list?
Well, top of my list right now is the attack in Saudi Arabia and the significant increase in oil prices, because I think that is going to have an impact, at least short term, globally. And our number one imported item is oil.
And certainly the oil conversation having other relevance here in Jamaica, the announcement by the Ministry of Energy that it will be subsuming the PCJ, questions being asked about the future of its subsidies.
Yeah, I think it's a good move.
Yes?
I
what does that mean for Petrojam?
Petrojam still continues.
As a standalone entity, does it now become subsumed in the Ministry of Science?
I would think as a standalone entity. I think one of the things that we've missed is that the minister had said that PCJ, one of the things they did is they bought the fuel, mark it up, and then sell to Petrojam, which means it's marked up twice. So if you get rid of PCJ, you can't take out a little of that.
People then ask questions. If Petrojam is going to stand alone, Petrojam is the one that needs the governance more than any other entity. And if it is that big brother Ministry of Science and Technology is going to step in and kind of take a closer look, that kind of forensic look, and hold the hand of what happens at the parent company, why would you then leave the scandal-riddled? Why would you then leave the cash-rich Petrojam out there on its own?
Well, I mean, you can have the oversight, I think that the oversight should have been there. I think that what happened initially was that there was just a lack of proper management of it, but the structure was there. What they have to do is just put a good board in place, put good management in place, and I think the place will run properly.
The story that we can't ignore as well, the lightning strike.
Yes.
That happened at the football match. One of those stories where Mother Nature, you can't control.
Yeah, but I don't understand. It happened. This is something that happened in the past already, with the Manning Cup matches, and I don't understand why the protocol was not there and someone was not there to ensure that these things are looked out for.
Well, what remains unclear, rainball is allowable in the matches. What usually obtains, though, is the moment that there is the first bolt of lightning that the match is supposed to end.
And you have a thing called weather forecast spreadsheet that you can use.
I don't know whether or not they can tell you about thunder and lightning, but the question is, was that the first bolt of lightning? Was the match stopped when it ought to have? And those are the kinds of investigations that ISA must carry out going forward. Well, folks, it's a tight show. We've got a lot to talk about this week. We're starting off by taking a look at the conversation surrounding the cockpit country. That conversation has heated up in the past couple of weeks. Environmentalists versus commercial entities, the opposition versus the government. What is the future of bauxite mining in the cockpit country?
And later on in the show, we'll look at Kingston's booming real estate market. But before we do that, let's take a look back at some of the top business stories of the week.
At number 5, drone attacks on 2 of Saudi Arabia's key oil plants sent oil prices through the roof this week. Saudi Arabia said it held Iran directly responsible for the attack. This saw the immediate escalation of tensions in the Persian Gulf amid a standoff between the United States and Iran. At number 4, Haiti came to a standstill on Monday with no public means of transport available. Banks, government offices and schools were closed amid protests over a fuel crisis in the country's capital, Port-au-Prince. Protesters demanded that the government resolve the fuel crisis, which had lasted for over 3 weeks. The government owes fuel suppliers about $100 million in past payments, and so suppliers have refused to deliver petroleum products. At number 3, Jamaica has fallen 7 places in the latest edition of the Travel and Competitiveness Report. The country is now ranked at 76th out of 140 nations. The Travel and Competitiveness Index measures Jamaica's overall appeal as a tourism destination, along with the ease with which locals and foreigners travel in and out of the island. At number 2, amid concerns about slowing global growth and trade wars, the U.S. Central Bank has cut interest rates. The Federal Reserve lowered the target range for its key interest rate by 25 basis points to between 1.75% and 2%. However, officials were divided about the rate cut and over the need for future cuts. 7 members of the Federal Reserve Open Markets Committee, which sets the rates, voted in favor of Wednesday's cut. 2 members wanted to hold the rate steady, while 1 wanted to cut further. And at number 1 this week, the Jamaican government forked out some $1.2 billion to buy back a portion of the country's foreign debt. The buyback offer tendered by the government was worth $3 billion. In addition to the buyback offer, the government also floated a new bond which raked in $815 million. Both transactions formed part of a refinancing plan aimed at replacing expensive external bonds with cheaper debt.
When we come back, mining in the cockpit country, where exactly are the boundaries? We'll talk about it on the other side of the break.
Taking the pain out of the audit preparation. Crow Jamaica now offers audit management services, AMS. With AMS, Crow team manages your external audit process by providing the following. 1. Prepare and review schedules for your external auditors. 2. Prepare responses to your external audit team queries. 3. Assign our team members to locate supporting documents during field work. 4. Draft financial statements in accordance with IFRS to supply to your external auditors. 5. Provide guidance to your internal accounting staff regarding classification and recording of transactions. 6. Review your general ledger for accuracy. 7. Prepare necessary journal entries. 8. Prepare fixed asset register. 9. Prepare accounting and operational manual for effective internal control. 10. Liaise with the company external auditors. We work with your team to achieve timely and effective external audits, resulting in timely completion of your audited financial statement, while your current staff focuses on their daily activities. Contact us, info@crowhorwath.com.jm. Website, www.crow.com/jm.
Welcome back to On Point. Now, this matter of mining in the cockpit country has been a hot button topic, but those discussions have intensified over the past few weeks. Take a look.
The Holness Administration and the Noranda Bauxite Company are adamant that there is no mining taking place inside the protected boundaries of the cockpit country. But environmentalists and Jamaica's political opposition aren't buying it. The environmentalists are contending that mining should not be allowed in the adjoining sections of the cockpit country protected area. They say from an environmental perspective, bauxite mining is not sustainable, nor is it good for the environment. Meanwhile, Noranda Bauxite is insisting that there is no bauxite mining taking place in the protected areas of the cockpit country. The St. Anne-based bauxite company says there have been rumors that it is seeking to mine heritage areas such as Maroon Town and Accompong, but those claims are totally unfounded. The company argues that in order to maintain needed bauxite reserves for its long-term sustainability, it has applied for permission to mine an area outside of the protected area described as Special Mining Lease 173. In the meantime, the opposition People's National Party journeyed to the cockpit country this week to have its own consultation with stakeholders there. The move saw opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips meeting with Noranda bauxite workers who expressed their fear that the opposition's advocacy may see the plant being closed and them being left unemployed. The cockpit country mining pushback culminated this week with a march on Parliament by activists who say their aim is to protect the area.
Joining us now are Sustainable Development Specialist Robert Carr and David Wong King, Director of Strategic Planning at Noranda Bauxite Company. Welcome to On Point, gentlemen.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Let me perhaps start with you, Robert. Articulate the challenge that you have with where things are now with regards to mining in the cockpit country.
I think that there is a kind of bottom line that the residents and the people who live in the area and persons concerned with development understand. That bottom line is the services that the cockpit country provides for Middle Jamaica I would say it's the #1 shield against disaster impact because it controls this high altitude water. It's also the area where our genetic resources are unique and special. And we understand that between people and nature, those two things are the greatest multipliers of wealth. So there's a bottom line. We want to make sure those services of water management and water regulation, carbon sequestration, that's carbon, containing the carbon from our atmosphere. Those are critical functions. In addition, people live there. People live and survive from the land. The last time we had a big separation of people from land, it wasn't good. And it brought us to this side of the world.
When was that?
Slavery.
Oh, that's a long time ago, man.
But we're living it now. So to cut a long story short, the bottom line is that the cockpit country, as described by its own character, it's a karst limestone area. You don't border it, it borders itself, right? And so those services is what people are saying need to be maintained. There is a disagreement about the boundary.
Yes.
To be responsible, you have to decide if you have a core area, what do you need to make sure you manage those services?
But what changed? Because when the boundaries were in fact announced by the Prime Minister, there was a round of applause. People were happy, there was cheering.
Including
Fast
environmentalists.
Forward months later, and people are no longer happy, there is displeasure. What changed within those
The
months?
big change was that the boundary that the stakeholders and the scientists proposed incorporates the communities, the protected area incorporates the communities, and it incorporates that land characteristic and the services that it provides. Now, the boundary which was announced by the government is an area much smaller, and it excludes areas that people live in and are parts of the cockpit country, areas that carry out that service.
I want to introduce David in the conversation at this point because we're hearing about a boundary seemingly that was agreed upon through consultation, and according to Robert, a smaller geographical area that was, or larger, I'm not sure, geographical area of protected area, a smaller protected area that would have been announced by the Prime Minister. Is that how you recall it?
No. My understanding of the situation is that for decades, the country has grappled with where the protected area ought to be. And in that discussion, several boundaries had been proposed, as much as 11, I understand. Some by stakeholders, some by the University of the West Indies, others by environmentalists.
Did Naranda have a say?
No. Naranda would not have been a participant in where the boundaries ought to be. Jamaica Bauxite Institute would have represented the bauxite and alumina interest. And their boundary, I think, had been the smallest for the protected area. So the government consulted widely. They took into consideration all the boundaries. They held meetings. They consulted with scientists. And then they came up with a boundary that they thought would be a good balance between the environmental concerns and the economic.
And Robert, I want to talk to you about that because I was a part of those consultations because I was at the PSOG at the time.
Okay.
And we did call for the government to define the boundaries. And I know that consultations took place widely. So my question to you then is, weren't the environmentalists involved in the consultation at the time? And then I don't understand now if you agree then, why disagree now?
Well, I'm of the same mind as you. it is my understanding that the environmentalists were in fact involved and did in fact agree on the boundary.
Okay, no, we have to
Let's set the record straight. Absolutely.
Let's set the record straight. The stakeholders recommended several years ago what the boundaries were, based on their discussion with the community people, based on their scientific investigation. That boundary includes areas northern, northeastern, central, and it includes, it's clear they have presented a boundary, which they did so on the basis of the services and the fact that people live in those areas. You can't be mining where people live. It was a much larger boundary, right? They put a boundary that would allow for management of the services that the cockpit country provided. What was announced was as a protected area,
right,
was a much smaller area, and adjacent to it, immediately separated only by a road, was a mining lease. No, I am 25 years involved in protected area management. When we do a protected area, it is a process that looks at all its interests, stakeholders, and we have to put a buffer area.
Yeah, but Robert, I'm not disputing that. You know what I'm saying is that I cannot understand why there was an agreement.
No, there wasn't.
I'm telling you, right, because I was involved in the process. And I know an agreement.
Boundary here, no?
Of course.
With the boundary,
of course.
That's not correct.
What I'm hearing is that the boundary that was
announced is not the boundary
that was agreed.
They presented a boundary several years ago, which is the boundary that they are arguing now. And they presented a boundary based on the factual knowledge of what is karst limestone.
So
what has been announced is different from what they have supported.
If it was announced a few months ago, and nobody said anything.
No, that's not true. No, immediately it was announced. People said that cannot work. So we have to get the facts straight. The boundary, what the people presented several years, not recently,
Yes.
And even the university boundaries, these were larger areas because they know that you can't mine here and have a protected area. The breeze, you can't tell the breeze where to blow the dust, and you can manage that on the water system. You need a large. We did the Blue and Jonquil Mountains National Park. The buffer area is several kilometers.
So let me talk about the reality of bauxite in other locations that might support what we're hearing.
But I don't agree with what has been said.
And perhaps you cannot disagree by answering my question. If we look at what's happening in Maine, the people of Maine, the residents are talking about chronic issues, health issues, respiratory issues. The bauxite company there is having to shell out money to be able to pay medical bills for the people who live in the community. These are things that they are not able to control. Does that Maine experience give credence to what you're hearing our environmentalists say or protection
But
specialists?
Why is it that you say that these are things that are not capable of being controlled?
Well, it's not being controlled in Maine.
It's not being controlled, but that's not to say it cannot be controlled. Mm-hmm. So yes, mining has some adverse consequences. No question about that. You can't avoid that, right? The country has to decide whether it wants a mining industry or not. If it wants a mining industry, some adverse consequences will follow. We mitigate against them as best we can. We're not always successful, as might be the case in Maine. Second thing is, to your specific input, do not compare Noranda bauxite with a refinery. Right. Noranda does not refine bauxite. We use no caustic soda, for instance. So one of the misinformations in the public domain is that Noranda has contaminated the water and the land with caustic. We don't use caustic. We're not a refinery.
Nobody said that.
It's in the public domain, Robert. It's in the public domain.
They're not arguing that.
Why are we haggling over the square footage of protected area? Would it matter to Noranda if that protected area geographic domain was increased? Would it matter significantly to your bottom line?
Yes.
Tell me how.
Absolutely. One of the things that is consequential on the existing protected area, the 75,000 hectares of land that now comprise the protected area, is that it sterilizes over 260 million tons of bauxite. That's 40 years of mining. Okay? The wider you make that boundary is the less bauxite that you have to mine. You will not hear the bauxite companies argue that 260 million tons of bauxite has been sterilized. You won't hear that because the government has made a decision. The bauxite companies abide by it. We don't quarrel over it. Of course, we would want more bauxite. But if the government says, hey, this is what you have because it's in the best interest of the country, we understand that.
So if you give them the protected area that they want, this project is no longer profitable or attractive to Noranda?
It may not be viable. And the issue is you have induced people to invest money based on what you say they have the ability to mine. No. You've given them an area
So therefore, Robert has a clear choice. Yeah, but Robert, I'm coming to that choice when I ask this question now. All right? I have always believed that, and I'm playing devil's advocate with you, right? That one of the greatest negative impacts on the environment is poverty. We see what happened in Haiti, right? We see what happened with Goat Island, right?
You're wrong about that, though.
What, poverty is not a negative impact?
You're wrong. You said the greatest negative impact.
I said one of the greatest negative impacts.
Well, I will tell you, when you destroy the water management system in the middle of Jamaica, remember I'm talking about 40 rivers and streams and outlets, 40% of the island's water system, right? You can't tell me that if you understand how the cockpit works, once you